Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Weekly Planet, official podcast of comicbookmovie.com, where we talk movies, comics, TV shows. My name is James, also known as Mr. Sunday. With me, as always, is my co-host Nick Mason.
Did you say Witless Sunday movies?
Witless Sunday movies.
It's me,
guaranteed every time. What's going on in your life?
Just taking a sip of this delightful Diet Coke.
Do you prefer it over the other Coke, Zero, whatever it is?
Yes, I do. I was on the way here. And I stopped at a fish and chip shop.
Great story.
No.
Moving on.
No! It's a really... Look, it isn't a good story, but I'm propelling forward because you've been disdainful of it. So I went in there, and I'm like, oh, you got a Diet Coke? And they're like, no, just Coke Zero. And I'm like, I've been sent to get a Diet Coke. Like, oh, the little lady wants a Diet Coke. Guess what? It's for me.
Yeah,
I love it.
No, I figured. You often refer to yourself as the little lady. So that's
me.
fine. Yeah,
I'm the littlest lady of podcasting. Should I move this slightly
closer? I
closer?
think it's a little bit too far.
Okay, cool.
I mean, you sound great.
Thank you.
But I think you could sound greater.
Okay, here we go.
There we go.
All right.
That was great.
Oh, you know what? Here's something new with me.
What?
This week I was on the
here
Excellent
we
podcast.
go.
No, it's time. It's time for plugs. Look, we've heard a little bit about me. I love Diet Coke. I love a crisp Diet Coke. But also I'm on a lot of other podcasts sometimes.
Yeah.
So I was on the podcast Serious Issues
I
this
listened
week,
to it, yeah.
which is the podcast about comic books, and I went with the host, friend of the show, Andrew Levins, and we went through all the number one issues this week.
Yes.
Talked about Teen Titans. We talked about Batman Beyond. We talked about Punisher. We talked about Wolf Cop.
What I found, there was one comic I want to talk about in our segment of what we read in this week that I've been reading that you guys brought up that I want to second that, as
Nice,
it were.
man.
But if you're looking for a podcast that's like more comic based than ours, which is just kind of like we sometimes read some comics.
That's right.
That might be a good one to check out.
I said this on the show that like we talk about comic books so rarely that when we do talk about a comic book, we can just be like, the art's good.
Yeah, that's right.
Like, we don't have to get into any specifics. The art's good. I don't know. But we really got into it, and it kind of in listening to some episodes of it and doing the show, I'm like, I should read some more comics. I've bloody got some comics ready here.
Absolutely. There's about 20 or so ongoing, 20 to 30 stuff I probably read every week.
Wow.
Yeah, so, but I'm not like this guy who reads like literally everything.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Maybe worth a listen, Mason.
It's real good. Get into what I say.
Maybe you should give
Serious
it a listen.
Issues.
All right. Speaking of serious issues, Mason, in the world of, it feels like 2003, the return of Xander Cage.
Yes. I just watched that trailer seconds ago. I don't know how to feel about it. Like, some of it seems so dumb.
Yeah.
And there's some bad green screen in that.
Especially at the very end where he leaps out of the plane.
Leaps out of the plane. There's a bit where his motorcycle transforms into a jet ski.
Yep.
And that is some awful... He's clearly just on a set, and they've gotten some like 1960s Hawaii 5-0 footage, like some stock footage, and they've green screened it over the top of him.
Absolutely.
So he's surfing the tube. He's hanging 10 in the tube. It's no good.
It doesn't have that Fast and Furious budget, does it?
No.
Though it seems like it's going for that level of ridiculousness, and there's a team. We're assembling a team. Yeah, because I guess the first one did okay, but he was like, I want to do better movies than this, so he bailed.
Right.
And then they got Ice Cube.
Right,
And
sure.
I don't think that did well. And then everybody forgot because Jackass went off the air.
Right, yeah.
And Extreme Sports kind of stopped being everywhere.
That's right.
They're still around.
And then he was like, look, ultimately I didn't do better movies. Some of them were fun, but they're all kind of the same. I don't know if I'm doing another Riddick, so I'm back, baby.
That's right. I think he's looking for another Fast and the Furious because he did that Witch Hunter movie earlier this year.
He could just make 2 Fast and Furious movies.
Yeah, just make 2 a year. Who cares? Yeah, it's fine. It kind of looks amazing though.
The people that love these kind of movies aren't going to be like, oh, another one this year.
Yeah, that's right.
No, thank you. Some of it does look pretty good though. Some of the martial arts looks pretty good, but it just really hammers home like, this is the coolest guy, and he says the coolest thing all the time, and he's always rollerblading down a mountain and bouncing off a bus.
What's great about it is he's not 30.
Yeah.
He's probably 50.
Sure,
maybe let's say 48 conservatively. And exactly. And he's doing taking a skateboard up the side of a bus.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean? A man who's that age would break every bone in his body.
There's got to be some. There's some good. Seems to be some creative action stuff in there.
Sure.
But I kind of feel like this whole thing is I'm going to be enjoying an action sequence in the movie, then just some bad special effect comes in and ruins everything.
Absolutely. But I think that's why I might enjoy it, for that very reason.
Yeah.
Mason, we're doing an unboxing this
can I
week.
crack open the Loot Crate? I'm going to do it right now. Hey, do we have Josh Trank news? It was from last week.
We missed it. I meant to put it in and you meant to put it in when we didn't talk about
it. Anyway, this bloody Loot Crate, we're sponsored by Loot Crate this week. And it's horror.
Yeah.
We missed it by a week. But look, if anything, this
is how they're scheduled in, man. I don't know what to tell you.
In a way, the spookiest thing of all is when you open a Halloween Loot Crate the week after, because you're not expecting it.
That's right.
This is something you're gonna love. The T-shirt this week, Walking Dead themed. Look at that.
Oh, that's actually very good.
Yeah, I know, right? It's your favourite character, Negan.
No, I love Jeffrey Dean Morgan.
Yeah, I know,
like
right?
The character of Negan. Yeah. I'm just very iffy on The Walking Dead for a number of reasons. There's so much that I love about that show, and so much that I hate. That's a sweet T-shirt.
He's still look at his charming little smile on there. Yeah. He's great. Good on him.
We were talking about Grey's Anatomy before the show and how it's been going for 11 years for some reason.
Was he he was somebody's love interest, and then he died,
and then
right?
He died. He had a heart transplant, and then he died. And then that song about chasing cars was everywhere for 2 years.
Yeah, I remember. You could not escape it.
No, you couldn't.
You could get. That was one of the. You know how you every so often you have this rare thing where you're listening to a song on the radio, you change the channel and it's the same song again. Sure. You could do that every day.
5 times.
Multiple times a day. Anyway, good on him.
Yeah,
this will be a sweet reminder of that.
He was in Supernatural, he's in Watchmen, he's in Batman v Superman. I hope they get him for alternate timeline Thomas Wade.
Me too.
Crazy Batman future.
Why else would they put him in here?
Yeah, exactly. All right, next bit of news, Mason. Kieran Hines has been cast as Steppenwolf in the Justice League movie. I had to think about what's that one in. Yeah, so he's Mance Raider from
That's not helping.
He was the king of the bloody people over the wall in Game of Thrones.
Oh, okay, right.
Yeah,
sure.
Yeah. He died a couple seasons back. Spoiler alert, I guess. He was also in Harry Potter. He's Dumbledore's brother. He's in a bunch of stuff. I think it's a good choice. Rumbledore. He's he's Dumbledore's brother, but he's real shady. Like, he runs like a shady pub. He's up to shady stuff with livestock. Dumbledore's also shady, yes.
Yeah, right? He's shady and he's surrounded by a series of increasingly more shady people.
Correct,
Good on him, though.
He's done some real shady stuff.
Check this out. Look at this. There's a book in this one.
Ah!
It's the Legion of Regrettable Supervillains. Wow. I didn't think they even put books in here. This is great.
I haven't seen a book in 14 years.
Right.
Not since I went to the premiere of Triple X 2.
Wow. Bloody hell,
what
this
a
is
bygone
great.
era. Yeah, hardcover as well.
It's a hardcover and it's all about like forgotten sort of D-list villains from like back in the day.
Dumb stuff.
Mr. Dracula. The Horrible Hand, who from what I can tell is literally a giant hand.
Great.
Wow, this is great. Can I tune out for the rest of the episode and just read this book?
Ideally not, but if you have to, I guess.
I think I have to.
Okay, good.
It's really good. I'm a huge fan of these, love it.
There's actually a bit of DC news this week, Mason.
Okay, fine. Back to the news.
Back and forth.
Back to the news.
No, we're going to jump back and forth because if we're talking bloody Dumbledore's brother, Johnny Depp is apparently in Fantastic Beasts. Where are they? Have you seen them? There's one. Get him.
Again, they're in the case.
Don't
open the case and you'll be fine.
Mason, I got a feeling you're going to be yelling that a lot when you go see this film. Yeah.
Well, traditionally, when we go to a movie premiere and there's a intern or like a director of marketing or something who comes out and introduces the film, I quietly go, boo, and then I wait till he's said it, and I'm like, boo, slightly louder. Maybe if we go to the Fantastic Beasts premiere, I can be like, tell him not to open the case. Tell Eddie Redmayne.
What I love about it as well, those guys who get up, they clearly don't know anything about it, which is fine. Your job doesn't have to be across all movie properties, but they're just like, they're really fake enthusiastic about a thing they know nothing about, and that always amuses me. Yeah. Good on them, though. Everyone earns a crust, Mason.
Don't they?
Yes. Johnny Depp is in Fantastic Beasts, apparently. We don't know in what role. Rumoured that he's either young Dumbledore or young gay wizard Hitler.
Sure, absolutely.
We talked about the other week. Mm-hmm. Grindelwald, because this movie is going to, and the subsequent films are going to see the rise of the Great Wizarding War, which paralleled World War II, which we talked about. There's actually a video
from our friend Raw Collins
made
at the Weekly Planet on Twitter.
You can bloody check that out. Mm-hmm. What do you think about Johnny Depp probably putting on a dumb wig and a dumb hat and a dumb outfit?
I think, stop. stop putting Johnny Depp in things.
I agree.
I think, look, there's some problems with Johnny Depp right at the moment.
Yes.
And maybe let's put him away for a while.
Sure, in a box.
You know what? Take your $50 million that you got from Pirates of the Caribbean and just don't be around anymore. It's fine. What's he like? What? He doesn't need the money. He's not doing it for the art.
Right.
He's just doing it because he has to be in movies, I guess.
Yeah. But people want to work. I didn't see a problem with that.
Okay, fine.
And look, all these personal stuff aside, which, again, I don't know the details of. Maybe he's fantastic. I have no idea. To be honest, I don't really care about Johnny Depp in any way. But the Harry Potter movies, to me, they're ridiculous and fantastical worlds. But the actors they get, they don't really ham it up unless it calls for it.
Yep.
Like an Umbridge or a... Who's the guy?
Gary Oldman.
No, he does all right. Who's the guy who... The teacher...
No, he hams it up in that little wanted poster.
Sure, he does.
I'm in prison! Get me out of prison! I don't want to sit still for this magical photograph.
Bloody, what's his...
I remember nothing else about his performance in that
except
movie
him
except for the
screaming
little
at a wanted poster. Mm-hmm. He plays the teacher, Defense Against the Dark Arts, Lockhart.
Kenneth Branagh.
Yeah, and he's like this big, foppish, over-the-top wizard. It calls for something like that, but everyone else is kind of really grounded and down to earth, and they don't put in these ridiculous performances. And I think Johnny Depp would just come in and just Johnny Depp all over everything.
Right, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look, I understand all the set pieces have been written and all the action sequences and all the... Look, my main scene's going to be in the library. If you could have a big stone wheel installed in the library and I can run along it and go...
Also, I want 2 wands. One in each hand.
Yep.
Great.
Camp Crystal Lake pennant.
Very good. Ever been there?
No,
it's fictional, Mason.
And also, how would I get out alive?
Yeah, you wouldn't.
How funny?
You're not a teen. You'd be fine.
No, but I'm also not a virgin.
Well,
no, guys, no, I'm not. I'm not, guys. All right, so I'm dead. That's how it works.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Would you insist that when you're in there?
Yeah, guys.
Come on.
I mean, my girlfriend lives in Canada. That's why she's not here, and FaceTime isn't working, so I can't. Guys, no, it's true though. We'll stick that up on the bloody walls of the man cave. I think.
You mean regular room?
No.
What I love about Jason? It's Jason, isn't it?
Yes.
I get confused from him and the other two with a mask.
I feel now anytime we have to talk about horror, we panic. And when I, unrelated, but when I was on Serious Issues this week, Levins is like, what comic books have you been reading this year? And I just froze. Like on the spot. I'm I've been reading dozens, couldn't think of a single one.
Yeah. You could have opened up your phone and bloody scrolled through.
No, so they're on my iPad. I didn't bring it in.
Oh, okay. You know you can sync those up.
I'm not going to.
I don't know how, but you can.
Yeah, well, good. Yeah. Great.
What was I talking about? Yeah, Camp Crystal Lakes and Jason. I love it in those movies how the teens are just so super irresponsible. It's like to a ridiculous degree.
Right, yeah.
Like, a kid's drowning and they're off just having sex in a cabin watching a kid drown or whatever's going on. Anyway, Mason.
Yes.
Lego Batman movie trailer.
You texted me Leto Batman trailer.
I did, yes.
Your phone has...
Why does my phone self-correct to Leto?
Well, it's because you text so many... Like, I always text you, James, seriously, who's your favourite actor of all time? And your phone has just learned to...
Who's the most serious and best actor of all time?
And your phone has learned to autocomplete Leto. And now you just
I put in any actor.
Yeah.
And it autocorrects.
Yeah. Anyway, Lego Batman.
Yeah. What do you think?
Was there a new trailer? Did I miss it?
I texted it to you.
I don't believe you.
I thought because you texted back and said, wouldn't it be great if there was a Leto Batman movie? And I thought that you understood that I meant Lego Batman. But you didn't.
No, look, I didn't.
Anyway.
Look, you've caught me flat-footed because you sent me
What did you think that exchange was?
No, look. I got caught up in it.
Yeah, you did.
What's it like? Tell me what it's like.
It's great, man. I'm really looking forward to it. It looks really funny.
What do we see in this one? Because in the previous ones we've seen, this journeys into the Batcave, and we've seen him have a mental breakdown and remember his life as all the previous Burton and Schumacher Batman films. What have we got
There's
now?
a lot of like different vehicles and stuff. There's Robin who's super annoying and
man, you should have told me to watch this.
Yeah, maybe I should.
I'm going to watch it in silence as this. We talk
God.
about this. No, we'll come back to it.
All right, fine. But it looks great.
Plush leather face. That's what we got in here. It's a plush leather face. I'm going to enjoy it. You know what? We've got 2 because you've got one as well.
Sure.
Give one of the let the dog sleep with one.
No.
Yeah, no, do it.
I don't want to do that. She would destroy it anyway.
Yeah.
That's what she's about. You know what trailer you did watch this week, Mason?
Just now.
Trainspotting 2.
Oh, we finished with this because I've since actually watched.
Oh, and?
I watched it looks great.
Yeah.
There's a little homage to Batman v Superman.
There's a bit. Yeah, he talks about how Superman's his greatest enemy.
Yeah.
It's quite funny.
There's a little visual gag where he takes off his Batman cowl in his limousine.
Yeah.
His hair clicks around to the hair that he wants. It's pretty, and it looks super fun.
Absolutely, it does. Very excited.
Love it. Is that the Carrie Kelly Robin, or is it just a generic Robin? We don't know who it is.
I couldn't tell you. I can't remember. I think it's Barbara Gordon.
No, but in this we've got. There's Barbara Gordon. There's Robin.
I think Robin's a boy.
Okay, great.
Yeah, I think I might be
as
wrong.
traditional for a Robin.
That's right.
Yep.
Did the Flash lose its director this week? We talked.
Yes,
about that?
it did.
We'll come to that in a minute. I just
Okay,
couldn't remember
cool.
whether it was last week or this week because last week I double reported on Deadpool losing its director.
Yep, that's right.
But we haven't talked about it. But we will, Mason.
Fairly confident. It may have. I mean, the Flash may have lost 2 directors in the span of 2 weeks.
Yeah, well, we'll talk about it.
Okay,
Trainspotting 2.
Yep.
Not a comic book movie.
No.
One of my favourite movies and directors, Danny Boyle.
And so, what did you feel in watching this trailer?
Initially, I'm like, there's a lot of... This feels exactly the same.
Right.
Like from the music choice to the... But they've updated, so it's like, choose Twitter, choose Facebook.
Right,
instead
yeah,
of like,
exactly, yeah.
And I'm like, a bit heavy-handed. That being said... I've watched it a few times and I've high hopes for it. I think it could be kind of amazing. And not having read the book, but knowing a rough idea of the story. It's called Porno, the sequel to Trainspotting.
Oh, okay, right. That's the sequel. Okay.
Mostly in chat. It looks pretty much in line with that. So it's 20 years later. Renton's running a nightclub and all these kind of demons come back to the past.
His demons being all
his junkie mates.
All his junkie mates from the first one.
Exactly.
Now it's called T2 Trainspotting.
Yes, that's right.
Which is either a fun dig at the Terminator franchise or it's some sort of promotion from T2 the tea
T2
shops.
the tea shop, yeah.
Yeah.
Do you love a T2 tea?
I'm not against it.
Sure. It's often a gift that I wonder
Absolutely.
why people give it to each other.
Well, it's the modern day body shop.
Yeah, right.
I mean,
what do you get when you don't know?
I've got 45 seconds to buy a birthday gift for that person at my work. I don't know what they want. Oh, body shop.
Yeah.
Oh, T2.
T2.
Yeah, and see what will happen is eventually. Do they have T2s in other countries? Maybe it's just Australian.
Who knows?
But eventually,
They have Terminator 2 in other countries.
definitely,
That I know.
yeah, that's right. But eventually, the officers at large will realise that it is the last minute gift of choice, and we'll have to switch to something else.
Right.
They'll lose all the last minute gift business, and we'll have to move to something else. So.
That being said, I'm happy to spruik them.
Sure, right?
If you're listening,
yeah.
T2.
Yeah.
I like tea. I'm a tea drinker, Mason, because I don't drink coffee, as you know.
I like tea too.
Very good. Maybe that's why it's called what it is.
Maybe.
Maybe
Yep.
it's not. Anyway, are you excited for Trainspotting 2? Long-awaited sequel, sort of?
Look, I don't think I have the attachment to the characters.
Okay, fair enough.
And do you think that,
Because they're all pricks?
in a way,
Yeah.
do you think, and that movie was just grotty.
Yeah,
I'm not
that's
a,
why I like
not
it.
a fan. This one looks much cleaner.
Yeah, it
I mean,
does.
there's some drug use in it, but it all seems like it's going to be cut away very quickly.
Absolutely,
you know? Yeah, I don't know if I have the affection for those original characters. Do you think they're going to be true to the original, or do you think it's just going to be
Just whatever.
just whatever, right?
Well,
Because Ewan McGregor's looking great.
they're supposed
as you
to
might
be.
imagine.
They're supposed to be more run down.
Yep.
I think, except for Renton, because he kind
He's
of
Ewan
clears.
McGregor.
He's Ewan McGregor, but he cleans himself up.
Yep.
And he knows that for a movie that I love. What's his name? Digby or Bigby? I can't remember. Robert Carlyle
Yep.
comes back. He knows he's going to come back at some point, so he learns martial arts.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah, so he's ready.
Here's a question that
Yeah.
I would be interested in knowing the answer to. You may not know the answer to
Yeah.
it, but I wonder if Irvine Welsh wrote Porno based on the idea that Ewan McGregor became a big star and, sort of became the breakout star of
Bigby.
that.
Sorry, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, potentially. Well, when was it? I'll find out when it was written.
Because it'd be weird
Oh,
if...
no, I'm typing porno into Google. How do I make this?
No, that's going to be in there
Porno
forever
book.
now. No, not going to help.
Sequel. There you go.
Porno book heroin, that'll do it. Because
2002. It was published in 2002, so that's very possible.
yeah,
It's
like
very
because
possible,
it'd be weird if they made a new Trainspotting movie and it was Bigby was the main character who'd cleaned up his life and was, or not even Robert Carl, but like
Yeah.
that weird goggle-eyed guy.
All right, yeah.
Imagine if he'd been the
That
book,
guy.
The book had been written as with him as the main character, and everybody else
Spud,
was,
yeah.
and Renton was kind of down and out,
Right,
and
right.
he'd fallen back into his heroin-using ways, and then he shows up and it's. The amazing-looking Ewan McGregor, and he's got abs, and he's,
Sure.
he's like, oh, I just need one more hit. It's me, rich and famous Ewan McGregor. My life sucks now. Look how good my hair is.
Such good hair, doesn't
Yeah.
he? God, he's the best. I love him. What was I going to say? I can't remember. Looks
what I'm going to
great.
say, Freddy Krueger chopsticks. Good, right?
That's good.
Yeah. One of cinema history's greatest monsters. But get your bloody Mushu pork out with it. You know what I mean? Great stuff. Also, there's a bloody loot pin. I think there's a bloody downloadable game which looks pretty good.
Yep.
It's which one is it? It looks like it's a Steam game.
Yeah.
Which is always great, and it's called Super Fight.
Okay.
So you pit like various odd ducks against each other. Drunk ninjas, Abraham Lincoln's riding bears, that sort of thing.
Love it.
That's very on brand for us, I feel.
It totally is. We love all those things.
Anyway, that's all the stuff that's in there, which is pretty good.
Well, before we
Bloody
do
hell.
the rest of the news, just want to quickly say November's theme for Loot Crate is magical.
Oh.
And if you signed up before the 19th, the items that included are, you'll love this, Doctor Strange.
Will I love this?
Good
is the
point.
question.
By the way, this is our Doctor Strange episode. I'll probably say it in the title. Big Trouble in Little China.
Oh, back on board.
Game of Thrones.
Okay, all right.
And
Too cruel a universe for me, but that's fine.
Sure.
Maybe it'll be a bloody Hodor bobblehead or something.
Yeah, or a direwolf sock puppet. And Magical Beasts, where are they? Have you seen them?
They're in the case.
They're in the case.
They're in the case.
That's an amazing month. Maybe that's
I know,
just
right?
me. Yeah. Even though maybe you don't like the horrible Game of Thrones universe. Yeah, good stuff. Mason, Starship Troopers is getting a sorry. If you do sign up, lootcrate.com/weeklyplanet, promo code weeklyplanet, one word, for $3 off.
That's the one.
I'll link it below. It helps out the show.
Yeah, don't just sign up on your own.
Don't be an idiot. Yeah. What do we got here? Sorry, Starship Troopers is getting a reboot from the writers of Freddy v. Jason and Baywatch. Did I say Babewatch? That's what I used to call it because of all the babes made. I never watched Baywatch. Did you watch Baywatch?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. We were a one TV kind of household.
Oh, sure.
In the 90s.
So you couldn't be in the lounge room watching Baywatch.
No, well, that and the ABC was always on. So.
Yeah, that's a good point. Didn't watch.
It was always the 7:30 report.
The government broadcaster did not show Baywatch.
No,
I understand.
they
Yeah.
Yeah. So, have you heard about this?
It was very wholesome, Baywatch.
Okay.
I mean, it didn't look wholesome. That was the whole key to it.
Right.
It was just a fun show about rescuing, dogs that were having trouble in a rip and family values, but also boobs. That's how it became the biggest TV show in the world for a while.
Yeah, briefly. Well, Jason Momoa actually started off in a Baywatch spin-off TV series.
Baywatch Nights, was it?
I don't think it was that one. It was like Malibu.
Was there another spin-off?
Yeah, there was another one. I don't know what it was. It was maybe Baywatch Hawaii or something.
Oh, yeah.
I don't remember. Anyway, the writers have talked about it. They said, for the record, we think Verhoeven's version is amazing. So that was the 97?
Yep.
Was it 97? And we are trying to redo it. I love the original. No, I've written that here. I love the original. I do love the original. Do you like the original?
I do love the original.
It's amazing. Yeah.
I mean, I have not seen it since it came to home video back in the day.
Really? It's been that long?
I think so, yeah.
You've watched the third one, though.
I missed 2, but I watched 3.
We watched it together. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think of the third one?
Oh, good.
Shit house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
There were mechs in it because they couldn't put the mechs in it in the 90s one because it was too expensive.
That's right.
That is a crazy expensive movie when you look at the special effects. And a lot of it holds up.
Yep.
They put a lot of money into that.
Mm-hmm.
Like for some reason, for an R-rated, gory as hell, what it was. Yeah. But no, I think it's great. Mm-hmm. And sure, reboot it. What else are they doing with it? Nothing.
But I mean, that's what was. Here's your question for you. What was the last Paul Verhoeven movie they rebooted? RoboCop.
And it was fine.
It was fine. There we go. Yeah.
It wasn't great, but it was okay. Yeah, but you know what they'll probably do? They'll probably make it more like the book, but less gory. That's probably what they'll do.
Yeah, you're exactly right.
Because Johnny Rico, is he Puerto Rican or something? I can't remember. No,
he's Johnny. He's Johnny.
Where's Johnny? Because Johnny Rico is not a Casper Van Dien looking
type.
dude.
Okay, right.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, look, I think they might do it exactly like they did it with RoboCop.
Yeah.
They'll put in the mech suits from the book.
Filipino, sorry.
There we go. They'll put in the mech suits from the book. They'll make it more accurate to the book. It won't be as much of a... I don't think it'll be as sort of fascist leaning. It might just be a straight ahead war movie with aliens.
You need that. I think you need that. I liked the snippets of news footage and the propaganda. I thought that was fun.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Anyway, good luck. Do it.
I don't know if that even works anymore. It's too close to real life at this point.
Okay, sure, absolutely. Junkie XL has left Deadpool 2. the composer.
I know who Junkie XL is.
This is for everybody, Mason. You're not the only one who listens to this podcast. All right? I'm also here. The dog's away.
Where is the dog?
The dog's at the folks' house because I was away for the weekend. I couldn't take the dog.
You could have taken the dog.
No, I couldn't because there were other dogs there and the dogs weren't allowed in the house. And there was no fence, so I couldn't leave her outside because she would just run into the night.
And as you know,
she's a black dog, so you can't see her at night.
Yeah, and she'll show up with her back legs not working again, like that other time.
Yeah, that was snake related though.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah.
Anyway, Junkie XL, who I'm very aware of.
Sure.
He's the guy that did. He's probably most famous for. He did that remix of Elvis's Little Less Conversation,
he did, yeah.
where he was referred to as JXL on like the gold 104, kind of like the golden oldies station when they played it. They're like, "This is J," because you can't say junkie. Can't really say junkie at all now.
Can't say junkie.
No, it's dismissive.
Do you reckon they're not going to say junkie in Trainspotting too?
Ah.
They'll be like, I don't know what else.
I don't know. Like, is Danny
Boyle?
You're
a heroin aficionado.
That's right. Exactly. Yeah. You're an opioid enthusiast.
Yeah.
Is Danny Boyle kind of still controversial?
I think so. There was a full frontal Rosario Dawson nude scene in the one about hypnotism. I can't remember what it's called. It's okay. And it is, when I talk full frontal, I mean like, I'm waving my hands. I don't know how else I can explain it.
All right.
Yeah. All the business.
Whoa.
So I think he's still got an edge, that bloke. Also, he had that guy cut off his arm in that movie. We saw that, didn't we?
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Anyway, he's got a quote for why he left. Tim was the driving force behind Deadpool and me getting involved in this amazing project. Deadpool without Tim at the helm just does not sit right with me, and that's why I've decided not to be involved in the second chapter. Fair enough.
Great. And the studio's like, fine, we'll get somebody else.
That's right. Yeah.
Official notice from, what is it, Fox?
Yeah.
Official notice from Fox. We'll get someone else. Sign the head of Fox, whoever I am. Fine, it doesn't matter.
Jonathan Foxman.
We'll get the guy that did the music for Iron Man 3. He's fine, I guess.
I guess he's fine.
Just don't think too much about the music. Everything will be fine.
Exactly. Well, we've touched on some DC news. We've got a whole bunch of other stuff though. Ooh. First of all, The Flash has lost its director.
Yep.
Not a massive deal necessarily because it hasn't started.
Yeah, and then they chop and change directors all the time before things get started.
But this is the third director to leave the project.
Yep.
Phil Lord and Chris Miller, they were never signed on, but they wrote the project. They left to do Han solo movie. Who else jumped on? A writer I did a video on it. In my Wonder Woman trailer breakdown, it's all in there. And it's lost, and they're all creative differences apparently, except for the first one. So DC are building this universe, apparently. All continuity is key, and
the DC universe.
The DC universe, and you know what I mean? And what's his name's running it? Jeff Johns, apparently. But why is nobody getting on the same page? What is this? I mean, it could be nothing, but what do you think's going on?
Is it a case... I don't know. Surely at this point... I would assume at this point, Jeff Johns or somebody's like, okay, we need the next movie to go exactly like this.
Yeah, right.
We want these action beats... And this dramatic, this dramatic through line and what have you.
Yeah.
I want exactly like that because if you go outside of those lines, you might mess it up.
Right, exactly.
What do you think? What do you think the theory is?
I think they got on. His name's Rick Famuyiwa. It's not pronounced like that. I'm 100% sure.
It's Famuyiwa.
Did you see Dope?
No.
He did Dope. I didn't love it, but I can see why people did.
Okay.
Right? It's a very kind of, I don't know what it is. Great characters. It's a very compelling story and whatever. Wasn't really for me, but I can see that he's got a particular vision, and he's he's not a director that you just get to kind of like can you just make this? And he's like, sure. I could see how he would have his own particular ideas.
Right.
But if you're building a universe where you don't want that kind of individual freedom, don't get that guy.
Sure, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, maybe when they got him, maybe they got him...
It wasn't that long ago. The last guy left in April.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
But I can still see them going, okay, but maybe Wonder Woman's going great, and that's pretty good, so maybe we can get this guy, and maybe he'll have a little bit of individual flair, but he will still... He'll toe the line, and now they're in more of a panic mode.
Right.
And they're like, well, maybe...
And maybe because after Suicide Squad, which did well...
Yep.
But it was very diversive.
Yeah.
Because I quite liked it.
Yep.
And you hated it.
Correct.
Yeah. And I can understand why you did, because that movie is all over the shop. Like, I get it. So, I think...
But apparently, as you sent an article for me to read. It was a Vulture
article.
We're going to talk about that later?
Yeah, we'll talk about it now.
Well, it's basically, it's an article about sort
The
of
Ringer, I think, not Vulture.
Okay, it's from The Ringer, and it's an article about how now people are much more invested in TV. You know, a lot of people are like, TV's great now and movies, bleh.
Yeah.
And it's very much about why that is and
Long form storytelling.
And if there's some must see TV, you have to get to it that week because you can't be spoiled on the internet.
No.
And if you miss a couple of weeks and you're not caught up and you're waiting, so it's sort of appointment TV and you have to watch it.
Yeah.
And one of the parts in it is Bret Easton Ellis, author of American Psycho, among other things.
Yes.
And a notoriously catty man.
Yes, he is, isn't he?
Who apparently had lunch with some executives who are working with DC and Warner Brothers executives.
He clarified that in the follow-up statement.
Okay.
That he was meeting with some executives who had nothing to do with Batman v Superman, but knew of people involved in the production.
Oh, I see, right.
And the information that was given was there were a lot of things wrong with the Batman script.
30 things
wrong with it. And the higher-ups at Warner Brothers said, we don't really care. It's going to make a lot of money anyway because it's Batman. And because it's global, 70% of the audience doesn't speak English who watch it, so don't care. Which is why Transformers makes $1 billion every time.
Any flaws in the script are sort of subsumed in the idea that you're just watching it for the action. And it doesn't really matter what the dialogue is because it's going to get lost. Maybe some nuances are going to get lost in translation.
Right.
And plot details are going to get lost in translation and like cultural translation and like, people overseas might be like, why is that character acting like that? It's just what Americans do. Who cares kind of thing. So people just roll with it, and that's how these movies get made, apparently. Now.
Yeah, that's right. But the thing, what I think about this is...
Which is very cynical, but probably very, very
true.
true.
Look, if it's true, and we don't know that it is...
Because Bret Easton Ellis is a notoriously catty man.
But let's assume that it is, right? At the end of the day, executives, it's not a charity, it's a business.
Yep.
And whatever works, if Batman works and they're happy with just putting out a Batman movie and it makes a ton of money, I can see why they wouldn't care.
Yep.
Why would they? Mm-hmm. Again, it's not a charity. That being said, the people below that, the creative people, do care.
Yes.
And maybe the reason that Affleck hasn't started yet and he's still reluctant to talk about it is because he's still tweaking it. He's directing it and he's also writing it with Jeff Johns. Uh-huh. So I'd imagine, even if they don't care, he fucking cares. Right. You know what I mean? Zack Snyder, Batman's v Superman is a bit of a mess, right? But Zack Snyder
it's fine. Don't worry about it.
He didn't set out to make a shit movie. He put everything into it. And so I think the people making them are still heavily invested and they want to get it right, even if the executives don't care.
But I think we can talk about Ben Affleck in a second, but I think Zack Snyder's issue is not that he was like, these flaws in the script, but I've got to keep making this. It's more like he went, wouldn't it be cool if Batman just shot a truck with a machine gun and everybody blew up? He's very happy with I feel he's extremely happy with the final cut of his movie.
Of course he is. But that's my point. But the people making them are tweaking it to a degree that they are happy with.
Right.
They're not just peddling it out, just, this will do whatever.
Yep.
He's making the best Batman movie that he would want to see.
He was capable of
making.
Yes,
that's what I'm saying. Exactly. And I think it goes the same for Ben Affleck. It might still be terrible, but looking at Ben Affleck's track record of filmmaking, it's probably going to be, at the very least, okay.
Uh-huh.
Who knows?
No, I agree. You're right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I don't know.
And we don't know what version of the script this is.
No, we don't. We don't know who these people are. We don't know who the executives were
talking to.
Real. If the people they were talking to were real.
If anybody knows these people, if they could get them to send us the script and we can give some notes. We're good at that, I assume.
Yes.
We've never done it, but it would probably be great.
But we're happy.
Yep.
We're happy to do it.
More Batboat.
More Batboat. And let's say again that...
More Batmite.
More Bat...
You know the little imp pixie
I
man?
know him. I know what he's about. But you'd also think, again, assuming this is true, that they would look at Batman, Superman and say, well, that didn't make $1 billion when it should have. Mm-hmm. And the reason it didn't make $1 billion is because it didn't resonate with everybody. So maybe you'd probably want to do some adjustment. That should have made $1 billion, maybe $1.5 billion. Uh-huh. And so to me, if I was an executive, I'd be like, well, we could have done that better because we would have made $500 million more dollars.
Right. Okay. Sure.
I don't know. I think that's a lot of money.
Yeah, in a way, it is a lot of money. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't know. There's also they could just shift the blame on somebody else. There's always somebody to shift the blame onto.
Somebody to fire.
Right. Exactly. And if you get a $10 million bonus every year, regardless, you can probably be like, yeah, it was that guy's fault.
Yeah, you're right.
It was that writer's fault. It was the cleaner's fault. Fire him.
Yeah. You know what I think it was? I think they gave Zack Snyder a lot of creative freedom, and in doing so, kind of hamstrung the universe, and it didn't get off to the right start. And because of that, subsequent movies are suffering because they're getting involved, going, well, we gave Zack Snyder a lot of control. Maybe we don't want to give the director of The Flash that much control,
right?
In case he, ruins it. So they're stepping in maybe with the wrong people.
Sure,
potentially.
Yeah.
Or not the wrong people, but just, I think they're learning the wrong lessons for some of this.
Yeah. That's never happened before. No. Do you think Ben Affleck could potentially be booted off his own movie?
He can't. He's Batman. He can't be. I would say he could walk. He could absolutely walk.
Well, do you think he'd walk from director but stay as Batman?
No, definitely not. No way.
That would be weird.
No way.
That would be weird if he was like, I'm not happy with the direction this movie's taking, but I'll still be Batman, I guess.
Do you think he'd leave?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think he will, but I don't think he's afraid to.
Right.
I think if he didn't think it would work, he would leave.
Yeah, I think if they push him too far.
Yeah.
Like people have let, like Ed, and ultimately it didn't hurt Marvel that Ed Norton is not the Hulk anymore, kind of thing. So
yeah, that's right.
And I mean, this would be a much bigger upset.
It'd be huge, yeah.
But I think people would people would be mad.
Yeah.
And because people are fired up about a full-length solo Batman movie with Ben Affleck.
And people just got used to the idea that they like him as
exactly,
Batman,
right? Yeah.
Yeah.
I think if he walked, I think people would be like, I respect his decision.
Yeah.
But now I'm very upset because who's going to be the next Batman? The Rock? Yeah, just get The Rock. It's
sure,
fine.
Why
just
not?
get The Rock.
He's big enough. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think also people are comparing it to the Edgar Wright Ant-Man situation. Mm-hmm. And as I said in my Wonder Woman video, we will talk about Wonder Woman.
Okay, great.
In a minute. But that was a very different situation from the perspective of Ant-Man was in the work since like 2004, 2005. And Edgar Wright was always involved pretty much in one form or another. And it was supposed to be one of the early films, so he would have had a hand in crafting the universe. By the time Ant-Man rolled around, that was movie number 11, 12.
Something like that,
And there's a whole lot of stuff that you have to fit in, which he didn't necessarily want to because that wasn't his original vision.
Yes.
So he left for those reasons. Mm-hmm. I still would have loved to have seen his version of it. Ant-Man's okay, I like it, it's good. Mm-hmm. But I think that's less of a disaster and more of a, well, we just came to an impasse because things changed.
Correct.
Yeah. It's still a shit situation, but it's a different situation than what this is. Unless all this is made up. Who knows? Yeah. We'll find out.
Red and Easton Ellis, you crafty cats.
Yeah. But it was interesting though that
what if it's just a prank?
It could be.
It could be just a prank. He's like that. Maybe he's got another book coming out.
Yeah, it's potentially. Yeah. Anyway, Wonder Woman got a new trailer.
Yes, it did.
What'd you think?
Looks pretty good.
Absolutely. Yeah.
We got the Wonder Woman musical sting that's in Batman vs. That one, yeah. Yeah, it's pretty good.
You like it?
It's nice.
Villains.
Yep.
It's a new game, Mason. It's a new time for DC. They're bringing in, well, first of all, this is set in World War One.
Yep.
Which is not traditionally Wonder Woman's kind of origin story. It's World War Two.
Yeah.
I think it's a Captain America thing. They don't want to have the comparison. Also, World War One isn't something that really has been explored lately in movies, and it's so hot right now with Battlefield 1.
Yeah.
They've really made this at the right time. But the villains, Dr. Poison, it looks like. There's the female villain.
She's a lady doctor, right?
Lady doctor, yeah. She's all about chemical warfare and whatever, which was a big deal in World War One.
Yep.
A lot of the stuff that happened in World War One, they shut it down after that.
Who is cast as Dr. Poison?
I can't remember her name. I think it's some
will
Russian lady.
Will it potentially be revealed that the woman from the Dawn from The Office is Dr. Poison? Wouldn't that be a twist?
I would say it's very unlikely.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. You know what did strike me as a little bit concerning in this? I don't know if Gal Gadot can carry a movie.
How do you figure that?
I just don't know whether. And I liked her in Batman Superman. I thought she did a good job, but she's never headlined a movie. I don't know how it's going to go. Yeah.
But what are you basing that on? Just these snippets?
Yeah, just bits and pieces.
Because she doesn't do much acting in this?
Yeah, maybe that's what it is. I haven't seen enough of it to say for sure. And I think she looks great, and I think the action looks spectacular. But I don't know whether... Because I've never seen her in anything that she's elevated the source material or been the lead. So I can't say...
Yeah.
I shouldn't say I'm concerned. I just say I don't know.
Yeah, no, I agree. But I've not seen her in anything, so I couldn't say.
Fast and Furious, one of them. Maybe you didn't see that. She died in one of them. I don't remember which one.
Huh.
Oh, she's alive?
Oh.
I can't remember. No, I think she died.
But we get some good solid stuff in this.
Yeah.
We get a lot of bullet deflecting.
Yeah, man. Love it.
I was under the impression that it's weird because Wonder Woman is bulletproof traditionally.
But the Amazons
aren't though.
Apparently not.
Because one of them gets
One of them gets shot
in this.
And that was my question. What differentiates her from the other people from that island?
Right. She's made of clay.
But is she? Because that depends on what version.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I know in the last trailer it says that she was made by Zeus. But in the New 52, that's just a story they tell her.
Yeah,
and
right.
that's not true. So I wonder which way that's going to go.
The larger question is why, if she is bulletproof, why is she using the braces?
Because they're bulletproof.
Yeah. Oh, no,
if she is. I don't think she is.
Okay, right.
I think...
How'd she fight Doomsday then?
Well, he's not shooting bullets, is he?
And also, I guess she's been around for another 100 years.
Yeah.
I get the impression that maybe her cost a lot of... Like, maybe it's a lot of enchanted equipment on the costume, which makes her...
Well, Doomsday hits her with heat vision. And she's just crosses her arms and she's fine. So there must be some kind of field going on there. I don't know what it is. Yeah, I don't know. Interesting, isn't it, Mason?
It is very interesting.
And I still think the main villain is...
Ares?
Ares, yeah. And it might be that guy from Wolverine Origins.
Danny Houston.
Yeah, or it might not be. Maybe he's got a bloody portal that he cuts a man's throat and he puts it into
blood gets in and then the blood goes around in a bloody circle on the ground and then it makes the thing and then Ares comes out. He's all CGI, maybe.
Yeah. Have you ever seen that before?
No, never. It's just a thing we've just invented just now. It's a good idea, though. Somebody should take it and put it in a movie. Maybe could put it in Hellboy or...
Maybe every third episode of Supernatural.
Yeah, put it in that, yeah.
Good stuff.
What else happens in this? War looks good. She does the classic. She saves Steve Trevor from harm.
Yes, that's a cool throwback to the Superman, the first Superman movie, which you love.
No.
What do you think of Chris Pine's hair?
Great.
It's on point, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
But on the topic of him, he's not going to be around in the modern day unless they freeze him or he goes into a time prison or something. I don't know.
Exactly.
So, and he's talked about, I think he's mentioned how he's not going to be in the modern films.
Okay.
Or he's not going to turn up as Steve Trevor's great-grandson.
Okay.
So I'd imagine that
you know what?
dies.
Comic book world doesn't rule out anything.
No, it doesn't. Anybody can come back at any time for any reason. But I'd imagine that the reason she's not around for 100 years after this before Batman Superman is something bad probably happens to him. And,
sure, right.
And then she's like, oh no.
Yep.
All the wonder I've had is gone. It's all out of me. Yeah. Anyway, anything else?
Probably he gets caught in that gas and his head bursts. I'd imagine that. And it's just real graphic and it takes about 4 minutes on screen.
Good stuff. I like Chris Pine, man.
Me too. Does anything else happen in this trailer? When'd she get an invisible jet?
Well, that's a good question. I think if they do the...
Also, can she fly or not?
Good question. Because when she's flying in that trailer, she's also on a floating platform.
Yep.
So it could be one of those things she's stuck in some kind of power vortex and everything's floating and there's lightning.
Look, fingers crossed we get another blue light shooting into the sky. That's all I want, okay?
Good stuff. I've been thinking about doing a video. I guess if I throw this out there, someone else will probably steal it. Of like top 5 best or top 10 best blue light shooting up into the sky.
You will never hear the end of it if you only do a top 5. Because there's so many.
I reckon I could do it, but how quickly do you think the joke would run thin if I made a top 10?
I guess it all depends on the reaction shots of the people in the movie.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
All right, yeah, I'll think about it.
Start with Keanu Reeves and work your way up.
Okay, yeah.
Anything else? What else happened in the trailer? That's about it, right?
That's about it. Yeah, looking forward to it, man.
Yep.
Looking bloody forward to it. What's next? We got to talk about Doctor Strange.
Okay.
Mason.
Can I take the lead on this one?
Of course you can.
This movie was fine. Good night, everybody. We're done. Really? See you next week.
Okay.
It's fine.
I thought you would have liked it a little bit more.
I did. Look, I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
There was some genuinely great effects.
Yeah.
I didn't love the being hurled through. I wasn't as entranced by this being hurled through multiple dimensions kind of thing. A lot of people are blown away and be like, "Oh my god, he looked at his hand and then his hand grew some more hands and they grew some." I don't care.
But I saw that.
Take your bloody first acid trip dreams and bloody get them out of here. I don't care for any of that.
You know what though? I saw the IMAX preview and then I saw it on a regular screen
and it wasn't.
And
good.
that was not as. I mean, it still looked great, but that was not as impressive.
Okay.
When it takes up your entire vision, it's very different.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a very different experience.
All right.
Yeah, but now I can understand why you'd be like, yeah, it's okay.
Look, there's some of it's that's pretty good. Acting was good. Love acting.
Yeah, acting was good.
Cumberbatch gives us some explosive, like he's got some explosive dramatizing that doesn't make me laugh. It's good.
Well, he's a good actor.
He's a good actor. Tilda Swinton's good in it. Rachel McAdams is good for the 5 minutes she's in it.
Yeah, yeah.
and some of the action looks pretty good and kind of creative. But you know what? A lot of the other stuff just didn't feel that. It didn't feel magic-y to me.
Right.
Like there wasn't enough to it.
Okay.
It didn't feel like sorcerers doing magic.
Sorcery.
It just, I mean, we'll get to it. We'll talk about it.
Okay.
Yeah.
You kind of covered it all.
Yeah, I know, right? Good night, everybody. Double good night, everyone.
Well, look, we'll talk box office just quickly, Mason.
Okay, great.
It's looks like it's going to make 84 million US opening, and that's ahead of Ant-Man and the First Avenger and Thor.
Okay.
Which is those are good numbers. They're predicting 70, 75, and so it's a little bit above. It's their first dalliance. Is that the right word? Into the world.
I guess depends what you're going to say. Magic.
Into the world of magic and sorcery.
Yep.
But I have one question for you, Mason.
Okay.
What do you think the story was?
Oh no! You've done it again. You've got me at my most vulnerable. So let me think. Okay, so
Iron Man, except it's magic.
it's Iron Man. See, there we go. Like it's a perfectly good Phase 1 Marvel origin movie.
Yeah, it is.
Right?
That's exactly what it is.
It's probably not the best one. The best one's still Iron Man.
I like First Avenger quite a lot. Iron Man and First Avenger both fall apart in the last acts.
Yes,
not fall
absolutely.
apart. It's fine. I shouldn't say
but
that.
it's got a lot of the same. It's got the same pros and cons as Iron Man 1.
Yeah.
It's got a villain that's kind of weak.
I thought Jeff Bridges was good. I liked him, but he went crazy for no reason.
Yep.
Caecilius, I kind of believed the reason more that he was doing what he was doing. Yeah. So I got
No, that's all I got.
Yeah. So it's a man, he's a really good doctor, but he's kind of a prick. He gets his hand smashed up, and then he wants to fix them, so he learns magic.
Correct.
And then maybe he learns a lesson about it, maybe he doesn't. He does.
He does.
His costume also doesn't look as dumb as you'd think.
Right.
Looks
Great.
really good. Yeah. Okay, so that's interesting. I see what you're saying, because I don't disagree with any of that, because I liked the characters, I enjoyed the performances, I liked the special effects. I thought everybody was very charming and charismatic, and it looked spectacular, but it is, under all of that, it is a very standard origin story.
Yes.
But there was enough of everything else, especially the performances, and especially Benedict Cumberbatch, that kind of raised it above just a bog standard origin movie.
Okay.
For me. Yeah.
Look, I know opinions of this have been very mixed. I know people are like, this is the most spectacular Marvel movie there's ever been. And some people are like, this is okay. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Some people are like, yeah, this is okay. For me, look, if we're talking about Iron Man 1, and we're going to, because we can't stop talking about Iron Man 1, but like I've never claimed to be the biggest Doctor Strange fan.
That's not true. Episode 73, minute footnote.
But I do, you know, I have been the world's biggest Iron Man fan.
Yes.
And when Iron Man came to screen, they changed like the time and place of his origin. They changed some of the relationships that he has with the characters.
Change his facial hair.
Change his attitude.
Yep.
Like the comic version of Iron Man now is kind of a Robert Downey Jr. style smug asshole, and he wasn't originally. He was.
Yeah.
But he was more. There was more. Here's my duty to America, and here's I just want to make the better place or whatever. Well, the better place doesn't matter. But they changed elements to it, but what they didn't change is he was a guy in a red and gold armored suit that shot heaps of cool weapons and flew about. Like if I went to that movie and they're like, you know what, red and gold doesn't work, we'll make it blue, and also we don't want him to fly, so we'll give him a motorcycle. I'd be like, that's some weird changes. No, like when I think Doctor Strange in a magical battle with another sorcerer, I think the bloody bolts of bedevilment, and I think of the crimson bands of sight, winds of Watum, and I think like fireballs and lightning bolts and illusions and monsters being conjured up out of little circles and bloody I don't think inanimate objects being turned into snakes.
Sure,
that's what I want. Nothing turned into a snake in this movie.
That's true. Nothing did turn into a snake out of 10.
Yeah,
but I think that's. I'm fairly certain they did that for a reason. They gave him like 3 things.
Yes.
But also there were certain scenes where that worked to hit the movie's advantage.
Yeah, all right.
And what I'm talking about is there's a bit where he gets in a brawl in the Sanctum Sanctorum.
Yes.
And he can't do anything.
Yeah.
And they're just hammering him and he's running and he's got one thing. And I thought that was really interesting that he's not quite at that level and he's still surviving.
No, I see, but
there's a level of tension
I guess
there.
the idea, like, I understand that he's not the Sorcerer Supreme in this movie.
Yeah.
That he can't call upon all these amazing, powers that the version in the comic books does.
Yeah.
But I feel like there was not even any inkling that anybody in this universe, on any level, in any place in the world, could do any of these things. Like the movies, you go to the library in this movie, and it contains, there's these hundreds of books of all these different spells, and gathered from all corners of the world and all times and all places. But everybody's got the same cookie cutter powers. Everybody is essentially
got a stick.
Everybody's got a stick, and everybody's doing Tai Chi, but they've got handfuls of big orange sparklers. That's everybody in this movie. Or like the good guys have fistfuls of orange sparklers, and the bad guys have ghost knives. That's it. Give me something like it doesn't. They're no different from anybody else in the Marvel universe. They're harnessing some energy from somewhere.
Yep.
They're turning it into a vague thing.
Right.
Like, and when I was coming out of this movie, my first thought was, and we'll get to why in spoilers.
Yeah.
My first thought was, I don't think Doctor Strange would pass an Avengers audition. Like he'd come in the room.
What? You couldn't beat Hawkeye?
No, the Vision had come in the room. He'd come in the room, and the Vision would be wearing like his sweater vest, and he'd have a clipboard, and he'd be like, "So, Doctor Strange, what can you do?" And Doctor Strange is like, "I can make shields." And Vision's like, "Oh, indestructible shields?" And Strange would be like, No, they're very destructible. One hit and they're gone. And the Vision would be like, we kind of already have an indestructible shield, guy. So can you do anything else? And he'd be like, I've got an incorporeal astral form. And the Vision would be like, oh, good.
Very good.
Very good, isn't it? How good is it when the bad guys just can't touch you? Isn't that great? And he's like, well, I mean, potentially they could find my lifeless still body on the ground a couple of feet away, but it's fun to walk through walls, isn't it? And then Vision would be like,
we have a guy who walks through walls?
Yeah,
it's me?
It's me. Can you do anything else? And Strange is like, I know Kung Fu. And then the Vision would be like, we all bloody know Kung Fu. The other day, we all did Kung Fu on each other so hard we blew up an airport. You're not impressing me, mate. I've tried to be nice. But what I'm like, he's just... They've all just got three powers.
Fair enough.
And then there's nobody stood out as like...
Yeah.
And I think I'm nit because if you don't know any of the backstory of these characters and you go, okay, well, in the Marvel Universe, wizards channel energy and they make geometric shapes in the air and then they throw them at each other.
Yeah.
You'd be like, oh, this is kind of cool and fun.
Yeah.
But I thought, give me something else.
And I can understand that, but I think the reason they did that is because they didn't want to go, just like they didn't want to jump straight into the Avengers or Iron Man has 80 suits.
Yep.
Because when they got to that, they fucked it up. But
yeah.
it's not here nor there.
What a waste.
I think they were like, this is entry-level stuff.
Yeah.
And this is the introduction of magic. And so let's give them three things instead of doing 1,000
I get that.
things.
No, I get that. But I don't understand why they couldn't show someone else.
Right.
Like, give me... have the Ancient One go, look, you can turn a thing into snakes. You can do this, you can do that.
Yeah.
And then she dies before she can...
Turn more things to snakes.
And before she can show Doctor Strange how to do those things.
Yeah, okay.
I want to know those powers are out there. What are all the books for?
Yeah. You can't read them. You're not allowed.
You're not allowed to read them.
Banned.
Sparklers. It's just different shapes of sparklers.
I don't disagree with any of that.
Thank you. No idea. And again, I think I'm probably unnecessarily nitpicking. Again, as someone who has read, Doctor Strange, I've read Doctor Strange as a backup character in a lot of things.
Yeah.
There's some good Doctor Strange stories, but I've never read a regular book with him in them.
Right.
So maybe I'm nitpicking, but I want if you're going to bring in magic, don't bring in energy manipulation.
No, you're
bring
right.
in magic.
From the Doctor Strange that I've read, there is normally a lot more going on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Did you like how they had a tussle in the astral dimension?
Sure. It's fun.
It's all right.
It's fun. Yeah, it's fine.
It reminded me of The Frighteners. You ever seen The Frighteners?
Yeah, of course. Michael J. Fox, the great man.
Yeah. I did enjoy this. I can't talk about this in spoilers. Mordo's character arc, I think, is a little bit more fleshed out than is in the comics.
Yep.
We'll get to it later. Now, the Ancient One was cast as a white woman as opposed to being a Tibetan man.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to quickly talk about that because
okay, great.
there was some controversy in terms of is this whitewashing and whatnot. Now, their reasons for it is because...
It isn't. End of story. No, it is. Go ahead.
No, it is, but at the same time, in the comics... The Ancient One is this Fu Manchu Asian stereotype. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And can you put that guy in and it not be really weird or out of place or offensive or whatever? And the other reason was because he's Tibetan and this movie will be released in China.
Oh, yeah, that's
And so
right.
there was that element of it as well. Now, I understand the anger that stems from they haven't cast an Asian person in the role. But that being said, when you look at the rest of the cast, it's pretty bloody diverse. So I think as a way to kind of combat that, or maybe even not, but I think on the whole, I understand why they did it. I can understand why people would be upset. But I really don't think it's necessarily that big a deal that we didn't get a Fu Manchu Asian stereotype. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I agree.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And also, maybe it won't be that important in subsequent movies. Who's to say?
That's right.
Yeah.
Wong I enjoyed. Yep. Love him. Great.
Now, he's also Benedict. He's not Benedict Cumberbatch.
He's Benedict Wong.
Huh.
That's his real name.
Perfect.
I think so.
Yeah.
He's in Sunshine, actually. You ever seen it? It's really good.
I've seen some. God, I've seen. Is he in the last episode of this current season of Black Mirror?
He is, yeah.
He's that,
the bees one, yes, he is. Yep, he is. Did you think there was a lot of exposition of people explaining things, and did that bother you? Be like, this is this, and just use this to get through a sling ring to get into another dimension or whatever, and don't worry about it. Magic.
No, I didn't hate
Mirror
it. We needed
world.
that.
Mirror World!
Ah!
You know what? I was a little bit disappointed, and I didn't see this in my review, because the 15 minutes I saw was incredibly trippy, and it was mostly the stuff of him tumbling through the dimension and hands growing fingers and whatever. Ugh. But they didn't really return to that much.
That's true.
There's a little bit at the end,
yep.
And there's a really cool chase sequence through the city where everything's mirrored and buildings are falling in on themselves or whatever. But they don't... There's not as much trippy stuff as I would have liked or thought there would have been in it.
Yep.
Yeah, and I'm sure you agree with me.
Yeah, and also... We were talking about the characters have 3 powers in this movie. That's true. One of those powers solely exists as a conceit for something to happen later in the movie.
Which power?
The mirror dimension.
Right, okay, sure. Yeah.
And that kind of... I don't think they needed that to exist. I think they could have just done the thing they were going to do, which we'll talk about in spoilers.
Yeah.
And it would have been fine.
Yeah.
It would have been... In fact, creating this mirror dimension conceit sort of takes a lot of the drama out of it.
Right, yeah.
So we'll talk about it.
Yeah, absolutely. I've just got written here as well. Enough magic ? He did 3 things, which is exactly what you
The
talked
answer's
about.
no. The answer's no. Again, yeah.
Fair enough. No, okay, what about this? Did you think it did a good job of expanding the world into magic in terms of setting things up for the future? Not necessarily for this movie, but just being like, hey, audience, be aware that this is a whole aspect of this universe you've never
you know what?
seen.
It probably did.
Right.
Because we didn't get a lot of cool magical spells.
Right.
Maybe we can expand on that. Maybe, you know what? It's something that's fixable. Like at the end of, the next, in his next appearance, or maybe the next Doctor Strange movie, he could just be like, the books that only the Ancient One can read. Hey, everybody can read them. Now we can all turn things into snakes. That would fix it.
That would be pretty.
But also,
great.
and we've got, we've got all this knowledge that is there. We've got doorways to other parts of the world that are, inexplicable transport systems that we get. Yeah, artifact relics, we got all that sort of stuff. So that's fun.
Speaking of, I did an Easter egg video, Mason. I don't know if you've seen it. You haven't, because I haven't put it out yet. But by the time this comes out, it will be out, and you would have watched it 3 to 4 times, I'd imagine, at least. Because you support my work.
Is it going to be 10 minutes long?
It might end up being, I would say so, yeah.
All right, cool.
It has to be. There's a lot, Mason.
Yeah, all right, I get it.
But there is a lot of magical spells and things that are just hinted at, and characters that can do certain things that there are nods towards it, but you don't explicitly see a lot of that. So if you want to, I'll link it below if anybody's interested, especially you, Mason.
Thanks,
you
pal.
Are. I know you are. You'll listen to this and then you'll go and watch that. Was it funny enough for you, or was it too funny? Did they nail the humor? Because sometimes the balance in these Marvel... I thought Civil War, perfect balance of humor, but what did you think about this?
I think some of this stuff fell flat.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
I think in the trailer, there's that who's on first scenario where... Strange and Caecilius have a fun little misunderstanding about Strange's name.
Yeah.
And it's funnier in the trailer than it is in the movie.
Maybe it's cut better in the trailer.
It's cut better in the trailer. There's some dead air in the actual movie version, which I understand because if it all of a sudden it became trailer paced in that 1 second, it'd be weird.
Yeah.
The movie has a kind of a slower pace all up.
Sure.
But I thought it was weird. It's funnier in the trailer. And then
One bit I thought was funny and they didn't really expand on it. They quickly kind of cut. Because I thought Strange was really good at kind of insulting people. That's one thing.
You bobble-headed booby! Bit of that. Bit of Lost in Space style.
But he does simmering anger and resentment really well.
Yep.
And maybe that's a lot of doing Sherlock and practicing it in that. But there's a bit where Caecilius is trying to explain to him that he's been fooled and why don't you join my side? And Strange is like, what are you talking about? Look at your face. Like, look what you've done to yourself. But then it just kind of goes. Yeah. And I was like, that's great. I would have liked to have seen an elaboration on that. It's kind of a quick kind of throwaway line. But no, I thought there were some decent.
I thought there were some decent gags. There were some gags that didn't quite land for me. There was one where.
Beyonce one?
Yeah, there's one, he meets Wong,
Yeah.
the one named Wong,
Yeah.
and he's like, oh, like Beyonce, like Drake, like kind of. And also, I'm like, would this character know who any of those
Apparently
musical
so,
artists
Mason.
are?
Or maybe he'd then download.
Because there's a scene right at the start where he's doing he's doing surgery.
Yes.
And one of the other doctors is playing obscure music to him, like obscure music from the 60s and 70s or whatever, and he's like, I know that. That's
he's intelligent because he knows a lot about music.
Knows about music, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I don't think it always landed, but I think it was funny enough.
Yeah,
I thought there were some solid jokes. And I also enjoyed the way that he cut everybody out of his life after the accident. And Rachel McAdams' character was the only one who kind of stuck with him. And then he just torched that bridge. I really enjoyed that because I felt like that's the kind of guy who's got that kind of hubris and he doesn't want, even though she's not pitying him, she wants to genuinely help him, but he can't see that.
Yeah,
I thought that aspect of it was really,
and he's
really good.
He's in the car accident that tears up his hands, and he is resentful of everyone around him for not being as good as him.
Yes,
because there is a line in it where he says, they say no one could have fixed this, and he's like, I could have fixed this.
Yeah,
and so he hates everybody for not being as talented and as hardworking as him. It's pretty fun.
Yeah, that's what Russell Crowe thinks of other actors.
Right? Yeah.
Spoilers?
Yeah, okay.
Let's do it.
You know what? I'm going to give this best movie ever.
Me too.
My aforementioned unhappiness with the level of magic, but that is fixable.
Yes. In the extended cut.
Oh, no. No, I mean in future movies. This one's done. I'm not coming back to it.
Sure.
Yeah. Pretty good. And you know what? The action sequence right at the end, the one we see in the trailers with all the... That's not a spoiler. We know it. We know this. Trailer, it's the one happening at the end, where the whole universe is the whole city is turning in bloody.
It's chaos, mate.
It's chaos, mate. That's pretty good. That's solid. It looks good. Yeah.
I like that final showdown.
Yeah. We'll get bloody. What do you reckon? Best movie ever?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. Cool.
How many turning things into snakes out of 5? What would you give this?
1 turning things into snakes out of 5.
I'm gonna give it a 2 because they did open up the world, but they could have been. I agree. They could have been more turning things into snakes.
Thank you.
Like you go to drink from a cup and then you look down and it's a snake.
A snake, yeah. And then Caecilius is like, that's just one tiny aspect of what we could do. And then you look up and a whole building's a snake. You know?
That would be a 5 out of 5.
That guy's secretary is a snake.
Love it. All right, spoilers. The time gem is in this.
Yes, it is.
Nearly completing Thanos' Infinity Gauntlet. There's one left. I can't remember which one. It's in my Easter egg video.
Oh, it's friendship.
Yeah.
It's the last gem is friendship.
I want to say Soul? Or is that the Vision's one?
No, Soul wait. No, the Vision has mind.
I think it's Soul.
Vision has the mind gem. So Soul is left, yeah. Look, here's the problem with this.
Yeah.
Is that the Infinity Gems are supposed to be, this is the climax of the movie, so we couldn't really talk about it pre-spoilers.
Sure.
The climax of this, the point of the Infinity Gems is one person cannot possibly handle all the power of the gem, which is why one of them, in Guardians of the Galaxy, it goes to the Nova Corps and they put it away so nobody can get to it, and the Tesseract is taken to Asgard, and the Mind Gem is installed into bloody the Vision so no humans can get to it. This one man uses the time gem repeatedly for several functions without any consequences.
But I think that's like the ancient one says. It's like that's like a keyhole perspective on what it can do. It's in a thing,
right?
You know what I mean? So it's like how you can hold the Tesseract if it's in a thing. Or whatever.
Sure, yeah.
So it's in a thing. Right, my point. Yeah.
But my point is that the whole crux of the end of the movie is he saves the day by reversing time and unkilling a whole bunch of people that were killed when the Sanctum in Hong Kong was destroyed.
Yep.
Like I like the idea that it's good that he is willing to sacrifice. He learns humility, much like Iron Man did in the first one, and he's willing to kill himself or sacrifice himself to stop the ultimate bad guy, just like Iron Man did.
Did he?
Yes. And so he's entirely willing to spend eternity in this loop forever if it means that the world will be saved. And that's fine because in order to use the device, he has to make a sacrifice.
Right.
You know what I mean? But in putting back the Sanctum, there's no downside to it. He doesn't sacrifice anything. He just puts it on and he waves his hands and then all the people who died are alive again, and it all gets put into place.
Sure.
And there's no consequences. There's no sacrifice on his part. He doesn't have to expend any energy.
Yeah.
And he's saved everyone.
As far as we know, there's no consequences.
Well, But there isn't though.
Yeah, but that was Mordo's point. Was like, you've saved the universe, haven't you?
Right.
But we don't fuck with this stuff, and you have.
Yeah.
And that's not cool. Yeah.
But that's the thing. Like, you know, he saves Wong, for example, who's killed by, you know, crushed bit of cement or whatever.
I want to see Wong. I'm happy he's alive. Anyway, sorry, go on.
But I mean, Wong's back, and Wong's an established character in the Doctor Strange universe.
Yeah.
So it's not like things are going to snap back and Wong's going to be dead again.
Right.
So he's saved all these people, and there's no consequences. So why can't he just go around the world reversing natural disasters and?
Because you can't like fracture time again and again. I assume he probably shouldn't have done this.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I feel
they flipped out when he made that apple go back.
Right.
That was a great effect.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
All I'm saying is I don't think they've not given him enough consequences.
Yeah, fair enough.
There was not even an inkling that in doing this, and Mordo said it.
Yeah.
But there should have been, if that's the case, you've got to give me a little scene where somebody who was resurrected by this reverse time turns into a snake. You know what I mean? And then you're like, oh no, everybody who came back from that is a snake
happens,
now,
yeah.
right?
Okay.
But you don't. As far as we can tell in this, he's now got an unstoppable weapon that he can use to reverse all the. One of the good guys got killed. Bring him back.
Sure.
And the only issue is he wearing the Eye of Agamotto or not?
Yeah.
And if he isn't, he can just go back and get it because it reverses time, so he can. It doesn't matter. There's no constraints.
Yeah, that's a good point. I can't argue with any of that. I think the consequence will be Mordo showing up in a sequel.
Oh, sure, right.
Yeah, but you know, I enjoyed Mordo's character arc because in the comics he's after power and he's out for his own personal gain and to grow as a sorcerer and whatever. This, he was very much about the greater good and following the Ancient One and believing her teachings. But then when he realized that there was a grey area in her teachings and her practices, he couldn't handle it.
Yes.
Like Strange saw it as this is a means to an end. Sometimes things aren't black or white. Yeah, sometimes you have to bend the rules.
She needs this power from the dark dimension to stop everyone else from the dark dimension.
Yes,
kind
exactly.
Of thing. Yeah. And it's ultimately it's resulted in her undoing.
Yeah.
But she's been around for 1,000 years saving the world, so that's fine.
That's right, exactly. But he obviously can't see that, and as a result, everything he's ever seen is a lie and whatever. So I enjoyed that aspect of it, and I think that will. I think they've set up a really good future villain in that respect.
Yeah. What do you think of Dormammu?
Yeah, it's kind of shit. No, that's not true. I liked that sequence. I liked how he kept dying again and again, and I liked how he had him at an impasse, and he brought time into his dimension. I thought that was actually kind of clever. It's not. I don't think it's shit. I take that back. The big face is kind of dumb, right? But there's a reason for it. Because Dormammu...
Bigger is better.
Bigger is better. But Dormammu exists in this dimension where he doesn't need a physical form.
Yes.
He is the dimension. He's everything in there. He has control over everything. Strange comes in and he has no way to communicate with people.
Yep.
So that's actually Benedict Cumberbatch in motion capture. That's his face.
Yep.
So that's Dormammu taking on his appearance to converse with him.
I thought that sequence could have been... It could have been shown to be longer.
Yeah, I would have liked it if it was like, I did that for 1,000 years.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
I would have liked that.
Because this version felt to me like, remember in the Jetsons, how George Jetson, he's in the future and his whole job is to push a button.
Yes.
But he has no concept of what work is. So every day he's like, oh, this is so awful, like click. So Doctor Strange has gone into this dimension and Dormammu, who has no concept of time, has been forced to replay these moments 10 times and he's like, oh no, time. This is the worst. Oh, will this torture never end? It's been 11 minutes. Like you have no idea. Like, yeah, I think it could have, it absolutely.
He couldn't handle it. Yeah.
I think there might have, I would appreciate a throwaway line where he comes out and they've been like, where were you? And he's like, I've been in there for 10,000 years.
Yeah.
And then that would have been, because he would have had a lot of time to contemplate things, and he may have come out older and wiser.
Yeah, more grey in his temples.
More grey in his temples.
But not really because of time.
What do you think of the cape?
It's great.
Cape was fun,
I
right?
loved it, yeah.
The cloak of levitation.
Yeah,
good,
really cool. Yeah. I like how everybody kind of has a talisman, whatever you want to call it. Most of them just have sticks, but he gets a cape.
Or ghost knives. Or handfuls of sparklers.
Yeah, but you know how... what's his name? Mordo says everybody kind of gets a weapon that calls to them.
Yep.
And Strange seems to just have all of them.
Right,
all of the ones that are available.
Yeah.
No, I like the cloak. It's a little bit different. It's more Aladdin's magic carpet than it is
A little bit, yeah.
In the comics, which it's more kind of Spawnish in the comics that it can grow and do all sorts of stuff. Yeah.
Look good though. It's good to see a cape in a
man.
Marvel movie that's a primo cape. The Vision's cape doesn't really grab me.
No, well,
it's always straight up and down.
Yeah, but that's also that's not fabric. That's some weird holographic.
Sure, right, yeah.
I don't know. Adamantium, whatever it is, because he's vibranium.
Yep.
He's a vibranium man.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So I don't know what that is. It's it's otherworldly. You think the cape would be otherworldly, but it just looks like felt or something like that.
It's like felt.
Velvet, I should say. Did you like the twist that the Ancient One was drawing power from the Dark Dimension? And did you think she was doing that to be around until Strange showed up? Or to keep things at bay.
Probably that.
Bit
those
of both.
two, yeah. Bit of both, yeah.
Because she obviously knew he was coming.
Yep,
But she just didn't know which way it was going to go. Mm-hmm. I had one more question for you. A couple more. Post credits. We had Thor having a bloody bevy, mate.
Now, is that new footage or is that footage from Thor Ragnarok?
That was shot by Taika Waititi.
Ooh.
But I don't know if it's going to actually be in Thor.
Yep.
I think Strange is going to show up because there's on-set photos of Thor and he's got Strange's address, so he's going to
that's true. I think it might be a case of Thor is depowered or he needs to get somewhere and the normal means of transport for him has been cut off, so he needs Strange to open one of those doors in his sanctum and be like, yeah, go through there. There you go.
Get out of here.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I like that Strange now is like, well, this is my responsibility to make sure these guys don't ruin everything.
Yeah.
All magical threats and whatnot. Now, last post-credits is Mordo's not happy that there's so many magicians.
So he finds Benjamin Bratt.
Yeah.
And he takes his power away.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I did not expect Benjamin Bratt in this.
Neither did I.
He hasn't been in a superhero movie since Catwoman. But
That's right, yeah.
He's back.
You know, he's back and he is mad about being dunked on.
Wouldn't we all be?
Yeah, that's right, by Catwoman, yeah.
The ultimate
That's
insult.
the ultimate diss, man.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. So he's spent 20 years on that. Spent 20 years in that b-ball court.
So in the timeline of this, did it make sense to you in terms of when this started or when it ended?
Well,
I think I've figured it out.
Well, it started immediately post-Civil War. Mm. Well, okay, here's the thing. It started immediately post-Civil War if you assume that the phone call he gets in his sweet Lamborghini is referring to Rhodes in Civil War.
If you check out my Easter egg video, Mason, yes, I don't think that's the case.
Do you think it's referring to the scene in Iron Man 2?
I also don't think it's that.
Really? I think my initial thought before I went, obviously it's Rhodey in Civil War, I assumed it was in Iron Man 2 when we see the footage of the Justin Hammer suit that twists in half.
I put it in. I put that in my Easter egg.
Who do you think it is then?
I don't think it's anybody, and they've actually come out and said that because at the start of this movie,
it says Rhodey's 35
or
36.
35.
So he's not 36. Exactly. He's 40. He's 46.
He's nearly 50.
Yeah,
I think.
Yeah.
But I think this movie at the start you see the Avengers Tower, which means this movie takes place in at least 2012, which is after Iron Man 2.
Okay, yeah.
And which also means that it. And he also don't think enough time has passed. He couldn't learn those three powers between Civil War and now.
Yes, that's true.
And when he comes back and sees Rachel McAdams' character, he doesn't come back and been like, man, I've been gone for 2 months.
Yeah.
It's you get the indication that it's been 3-4 years.
Yeah.
And I assumed that, so it's like maybe 2012, 2013 up to 2016. So it starts around Avengers time.
Yeah, okay.
And finishes after Civil War.
So it's just somebody in an experimental Iron Man style suit. Yeah.
And the other one they
mentioned... Could be anyone.
Could be all of the Iron Man.
Could be Firepower, which is the government's...
The government's Iron Man. Yeah. Sure. Mm-hmm. Could be the president.
Could be the president in that suit. They just gave him the Iron Patriot and they're like, whatever you do, Mr. President, do not get in that. He's like, I've got to take the kids to school and I've got to... the first lady's out. I've got to bloody do the grocery shopping. I know, I'll get in the Iron Patriot suit. Snap. They'd say the president though, wouldn't they?
They would, wouldn't they? Yeah. And the other one is they mentioned a 22-year-old schizophrenic who's got a chip in her head that gets hit by lightning. That's nobody. I looked into it.
Yeah, that can't be,
but it might be Captain Marvel, new Captain Marvel.
Yeah, we don't know what a movie origin is yet.
So, but that's speculation.
It could be, it could be... I actually don't know what her current origin is in the comic books.
I don't either, yeah.
But it could be, because like she was, at one point her powers were the result of meddling by the Kree, the alien Kree, so maybe they put the chip in her head.
Right, okay.
And she gets herself struck by lightning to get it out.
Do they have the Kree? I've got no idea.
Yeah, no, because they've got Ronan the Accuser.
Okay, sure.
He's
Yeah,
the
you're
Kree,
right.
yeah.
They do. Yeah, Good point. Good point. I forget who's got what sometimes.
Yeah.
Is that it?
That's it, I think.
Then we gotta do the all in all. Would you recommend this?
Yeah, I still kind of would. Yeah.
I think Mason next week if you come back.
Yeah,
you're welcome anytime.
I am
obviously.
the carryover champion of this podcast, so
Then there's been 6 comic book movies this year, and maybe we rank them next week.
okay, great.
Yeah,
Oh, definitive rankings. I love it.
definitive rankings, mate.
Yeah.
So tune in for that next week. Mm-hmm. You know what it's time for?
Oh, our famous segment. What we're reading.
What are we gonna read? I'm doing the thing. What are we reading today? Mason, I got so much. Oh, before we get to what we read and what we're going to read,
Yes.
I got some viewer reviews just quickly on Twitter.
Oh, view reviews.
View reviews. It's from Chris White. Disappointed with Doctor Strange. No need for an origin story. Could have started with him more established and had flashbacks, in my honest opinion.
That could be true, yeah. Mm-hmm.
This is from Baitkin Blog. Just
All
watched
right.
Doctor Strange, and I have to say it was very refreshing. The visuals and acting were excellent. A few similarities between Stark and Strange. The humor is unique either way, and they both have the best. And they both have perks. Best movie ever. And Ashley Davis says Doctor Strange in IMAX 3D is wonderfully insane. You will get motion sickness. 10 out of 10. Would get nausea again.
Cool.
There you go.
Nice.
So he didn't rate it out as, well, he or she didn't rate it out of snakes though. So I don't know.
Then who knows what it's...
Yeah, that's
Yes,
right.
no,
Okay.
no.
What are you reading?
This week I started reading the new season, so issues 9 and 10 of Jughead. So Chip Zdarsky was on the previous
Of
run.
Sex Criminals?
Sex Criminals fame.
Howard
so
the Duck?
This is Ryan North and Derek Charm, and it's the sort of the rebooted Archie universe, Jughead universe. It's really funny.
Okay,
It's
cool.
really, because I'm a big fan of Chip Zdarsky as a writer and comedy wise.
Sure.
And this is real good. So Jughead falls in love with the woman who's dressed as a giant burger, promoting burgers outside the malt shop, and then he goes on a date with her, like a blind date, only to discover she is in fact Sabrina the Teenage Witch. So it's
So you're
real,
gonna
it's
be
real
like,
good.
she's really a giant burger.
She's not really a giant burger, but she could be because Sabrina the Teenage Witch, surprise, surprise, is magic. I also got recommended I haven't read it yet, but it's here, it's ready to go. It's a image, and it's an IDW comic book called The Electric Sublime,
Okay.
which is, let's say, when a mysterious change in the composition of a famous painting begins poisoning the minds of its spectators, Margot Breslin, director of the Bureau of Artistic Integrity, must pull famed art detective Arthur Brute out of a mental institution and back into the insanity that sent him there in the first place. So,
Sounds
I don't know what
great.
it's about, but bloody...
That's very intriguing.
It looks crazy, the art looks amazing, so I'm on board with that, whatever it turns out to be. But apparently that's a great first issue, so...
Fan-bloody-tastic, mate.
Yeah.
I've been reading Alien Defiance, which was brought up on the podcast you were on.
Yes, that's right.
So I think there's one issue left, and it's basically the alien story or aliens, where there's a whole bunch of aliens and the government are trying to get them and whatever. I've read a lot or a few of the alien stories, and mostly they're just retreads of aliens, and there's too many Marines and
you played that
whatever,
Alien
and-
game, which is essentially Alien, except you're Ripley's daughter.
Yes, I did. I played about an hour of that until they wouldn't let me have the gun when I wanted the gun.
Yep.
So I never picked it up again.
The gun was right there on the floor. Why couldn't you pick the gun up?
Give me the gun.
Give me the gun.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But it's great. It's really fantastic. I love the twist on the synthetics that they've got in there.
Yep.
It's a different perspective. If I was to ever write an alien comic, Mason, and I wouldn't because I would not be asked and I cannot write. But if I was,
Yep.
don't you think it would be a cool twist if it's a synthezoid person, but it turns out that they're human instead of vice versa?
Oh,
Do you think
twist.
that could be
Yeah,
something
maybe. That'd be great.
interesting? Yeah. Anyway.
I also read the Mockingbird trade paperback, I Can Explain, which is...
You talked about that last week.
yeah, it was
it
really
as good as you
really
what you'd
fun.
heard?
Real good. Clever. Very
Okay.
good. Good action. It's bloody good stuff.
And you love her in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Or that spin-off movie they didn't make.
I
TV
don't
show.
remember any of her appearances in... It was in season 2 or 3. I did not watch any of that.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, man.
Good stuff. Also, Mason,
Yes.
I'm going to recommend a podcast as well,
Oh.
which we're big fans of.
Oh,
and
yeah,
you've actually
absolutely,
been
yeah.
on. It's called Filthy Casuals.
Yep.
And if you like video games, but you hate people who play every video game and know a lot about video games, you know what? No, okay, you know what I'll equate it to? The way that we like movies and comics, but we We kind of like them, but they're pretty great, but we don't know everything about them, and we're just a couple of regular dudes.
We're just
having
like
a chat.
you.
That's right. It's that with video games.
Great.
It's got 3 of your good friends. Do you want to name them?
Ben Vanel, Tommy Dasilo,
I was
Adam
say,
Knox.
do you want to name them in the order you like them? And you have. Very good.
Perfect.
And you know what I might do? I'm going to put in a clip from the show. Maybe you can do that every now and then of a podcast that we like.
Yeah.
I'm going to put that in now. You're welcome to skip ahead, but you shouldn't. Absolutely give it a listen. I'll link it below. But it's very funny.
Yeah.
And the one episode that I really enjoyed, and maybe I'll use this clip. Well, first of all, the one you were on was great, Mason. Well done.
Thank you, but you're not using the bit that is widely regarded as the worst segment that's ever been on that show, where we watched a Call of Duty trailer in total silence for 3 minutes. I don't know if you're
waiting for ground control to Major Tom to kick in. Yeah, I remember. No, but they did an episode on the 50 best video games of all time as ranked by Time Magazine, and it is a shit show, that list.
Right.
And it's a great episode, so I'd recommend that one. So I'll chuck in a clip of that.
Yeah, so we're thinking that we would like to promote some maybe Australian podcasts that maybe we like a lot. A lot of this stuff, a lot of the stuff I've been guesting on are shows that I really like and I listen to every week.
Yeah.
But maybe they don't get the number of listens that they maybe should. I think people should check them out and maybe don't just go through the episodes that we've been on.
No.
Just check out the whole bloody lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And anyway, Filthy Casuals is one of those, so
great.
check it out, please, if you would.
Halo Combat Evolved is at number 25. That's still a really good game to play even today.
Is that Halo 1?
That's Halo 1, yeah.
Yeah, I remember that being, and kind of the game that put the Xbox on the map.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a
Really.
huge
Yeah.
deal.
Absolutely.
Without that, there wouldn't be Xboxes today, probably.
So you can't, again, I've never played it, but I believe you.
It's still
in spite
fun
of
to play.
myself, I'm going to take you at your word here.
Wow.
And it's still a good game today. You could play through that today and still have a good time.
Yeah. I agree. I played. That was one where I didn't have an Xbox, but I would go to friends' houses and play it at parties and stuff.
And it's either that or 3, which is still the best Halo games. Halo 5 was kind of disappointing.
Yep.
Number 23 is pretty weird. Microsoft Flight Simulator, either X or 10.
That's a
Specific.
weird, very weird inclusion.
Like, I don't think
weird.
there's a huge amount of people who are going to say, yeah, I like Microsoft Flight Simulator more than fucking Final Fantasy 7 or whatever.
Yeah.
But for a certain sect of people, that is probably their favorite game of all time.
Sure.
But we're
again, hey, the dad market.
Totally.
Yeah,
Flight
man,
Simulator.
Dad loves to
Flight
fly.
Sim and Mist. That's that's a dad.
Yeah.
That's a dad combo. Yeah.
Only I could fly away from this place. That's my dad. He hates living with us.
I thought he was English.
yeah, but he talks like that when he's drunk. 22. I don't think we have anything to say about Flight
No,
Simulator.
No, I think we already said too
Sure.
much.
Yes.
22. GoldenEye 007.
What a great clip that I put in then, Mason.
Right?
You know, and that's time for now, though.
What's the time for now?
It's you. You do it.
Classic one was
Letters, oh letters, we love you. Some letters, they're only a day away.
I know they're here right now. We're going to do letters.
Good work, Mason.
Thank you.
If you want to get a letter to the show, you can, but you have to do it as a tweet.
Yep, definitely not a letter.
Don't write anything down. Hashtag Weekly Planet Pod on Twitter, and we will go through them and find 3 to 7. Usually closer to 3. It's always 3.
It's never 7. It's never been 7.
Matthew Onestro says, is it more likely that we'll get a DC and Marvel crossover cartoon than a live action movie?
Yes.
Hashtag Weekly Planet Pod. Just like that, huh?
Uh-huh, yeah.
So do you think they'd go... So we've had Amalgam Comics.
Yes, we have,
which
yeah.
it's kind of fallen by the wayside recently. I think that's to do with cinematically as well, that there is now that divide.
Yeah, look, I think when I was a young lad, Marvel and DC always had kind of a friendly rivalry, and that was sort of reflected in the audience as well.
Yes.
Like, you know, you were like, I'm a Marvel fanboy, I'm a DC fanboy or whatever, but it was always like, no, but the other guys are good too, kind of thing.
Sure.
But now it's sort of, it's bloodshed now.
Absolutely, it's bloodshed.
And I think more, I think the cinematic universe is much more so than like the comic books and the cartoons and stuff like that. So I can absolutely see the animation departments of Marvel and DC teaming up on something.
Yeah.
But cinema-wise, absolutely not.
Do you think that could be the stepping stone to maybe getting that one day?
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. I would like to see a Marvel DC crossover
uh-huh.
in cinematically, but yeah, I'd take a cartoon.
I can see Disney buying DC.
I can also see that. Well, didn't Warner Brothers just get bought out by someone?
They got bought out by
big wigs.
Comcast or something. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, one of those.
One of those companies that own everything, but you don't know who they are.
Yeah, and now they own even more than that. They bought Warner Brothers.
Yeah.
Warner Brothers has a lot of money.
It would seem that way.
Yeah, right.
Great. Yeah, yes. Mm-hmm. More likely, definitely. It's from Skylar, Outer Context. #WeeklyPlanetPod. Hey, dickhead.
Whoa, steady on.
Why haven't you ever talked about Flight of the Conchords? Is it because they're from New Zealand and as Australians you hate New Zealanders? I think we have talked about it a little bit briefly.
Uh-huh. We would have talked about it in the context of probably What We Do in the Shadows.
Sure, which is fantastic.
Yep.
I love Flight of the Conchords, man.
Me too.
2 seasons,
Yep.
done. I think they're touring at the moment or soon.
But also I think it's probably because it was been and gone before we started the podcast.
That's true, like 2007, I want to say, 2009.
If we do an episode on some sort of New Zealand content, if we do a New Zealand content special, I'm sure that'll be brought up.
Absolutely, we will. Because Taika Waititi, who's doing the current Thor movie, and he did What We Did in the Shadows, and as well as Hunt for the Wilder People. Have you seen that?
Not yet.
Incredible.
All right.
Watch it.
All right,
check
fine,
it out. I don't mind. You can do it. I don't mind if you watch it. I'm totally okay with it.
Oh, cool. Thanks for your permission there.
He had a big hand.
Dad.
He had a big hand in Flight of the Conchords.
Yep.
But I had. You know when have you ever had a moment where you laugh so uncontrollably you can't breathe and you're worried that everyone's looking at you and whatever? And
I always laugh like no one's watching.
Okay, good.
Yeah, I'm free.
No
I'm free
consequences.
as a bird. No consequences. I do what I like. I'm a free spirit.
I was on a plane, Mason, coming back from overseas because, as you know, I'm a man of the world. And I'd never seen Fly the Conchords, but I'd heard about it. So I was watching a few episodes, and I'm not going to do the bit, but there's a bit where one of them, the two guys in it, are trying to explain the concept of the chicken and the egg to Murray.
Right.
And I just lost my mind. Like it was like the funniest thing that I've ever seen because all of those guys are incredible.
Yep.
And he was also, Murray was also, it's not his name, Rhys Darby is in that great episode of the new series of X-Files.
He's in the best episode of the new season of the X-Files, the funny one.
Yeah, he's really good. And it just split my head. Like I just couldn't, maybe I was delirious, but it's an incredible show.
Yep.
But it's one of those things where I'm reluctant to recommend it to people because I know people have seen it and just like, I don't really get this. Like, what is it? Like, because it's not gags and it's just...
It's mannerisms.
It's mannerisms and subtlety and music and I don't know. It's great. It's really good. And it sucks that it's gone.
I mean, it's not gone.
No, it's still there.
It's in our hearts.
It's in our hearts forever.
Every DVD copy was destroyed, but it's in our hearts.
So from Sebastian Cullingham. Rather than make a whole Universal Monster cinematic universe, do you think they should just make it a Van Helsing franchise?
With Hugh Jackman?
They did that and it
was no good?
Well, it was okay for the time. Everybody turned into a werewolf at the end or something.
I don't know if
I know you're not a big fan of it in general, but if you had to do it, instead of being like, this is a Frankenstein movie, this is a Wolfman movie or whatever, this is Dracula Untold.
So it's a series of Van Helsing movies. Yes. Maybe not Hugh Jackman, maybe modern day Van Helsing or something.
I don't know, I think Tom Cruise might be playing him.
Yeah.
Or the modern day version of that character. Yeah, sorry, go on.
I don't know, I actually, with the exception of the TV series Jekyll, I quite like modern day reinterpretations of these classic movie monsters or these classic literary monsters. I like seeing a modern day Frankenstein movie.
But you don't like I Frankenstein. But you, for example, don't like seeing... You're not going to stop me from saying that?
Didn't say it.
Okay, good.
Didn't say it.
He fights gargoyles. But... So, when they made, like, The Wolfman with Benicio del Toro, that's a period piece.
Correct.
So you're saying instead of doing that, you modernize it and you bring them all to the modern day.
Yeah.
Do it that way, as opposed to being like, this is set in bloody 1890.
I guess the idea of a period piece and it's the origin of Frankenstein's monster again.
Yeah.
We all know what it is. We don't need to see it with a new metal edge to it. And again,
yeah,
it's fine. We don't need that. But if you want to take Frankenstein's monster, say he survived to the modern era, and have an adventure set now, I'm okay with that.
I think he's just called Frankenstein.
You're right. You're absolutely right.
Great.
No, I don't know. They're just going to keep trying. They own the properties. They own them forever.
Or everybody owns them. I
can't
remember.
Yeah. Look, they're just going to... They're never going to catch the public's imagination.
Again, the way
they originally did. Yeah,
fair enough. Too many Draculas, you think?
Exactly. Too many Draculas.
Yeah, fair enough. All right, well, that's the show for this week, Mason.
We did it.
Where can people and would they find us?
They can find us at Weekly Planet Pod on Facebook and Twitter and Gmail and Bandcamp.
Yeah, man.
I'm at Wikipedia Brown on Twitter.
I'm at Mr. Sunday Movies.
Our friend Robert Collings is at The Weekly Planet on Twitter.
Yeah, I agree.
With some fire content on Twitter and YouTube
Using
as well.
some pretty swift language there, Mason.
Thank you. I'm very woke and lit. I'm lit
got
AF, my friend. What else? Let's see. If you want to support the show, you go to patreon.com/Mr. Sunday Movies, or and throw in $1 a month or whatever you like. You could go to our Amazon affiliate link, which is in the episode description. Click on that, buy something funny on Amazon, and then we get a kickback somehow.
It has to be funny, otherwise we won't get a kickback.
Don't buy things that are useful for your day-to-day life.
No.
Buy a weird thing and then tell us about it. What else? You go to TeePublic for our t-shirts.
Sure.
TeePublic.com. Or you can do none of those things. Those things are fine. You go to Loot Crate.
Yeah, Loot Crate's bloody good. We love them.
Offer code Weekly Planet.
Yeah.
Is that it?
Yeah, I think that's all the things, mate. That's all the things.
Or thank you to the Brute and the Basilisk and Rackham.
Yes.
For our theme songs. Yeah, I mean, don't do anything. Just listen to the show. We appreciate everybody listening to the show. We've had a great couple of months for downloads, which has been fantastic.
It's been really good.
So that's all the recognition we need.
Yeah.
Loads of downloads.
Loads of downloads, baby.
Yeah, or subscribe, tell a friend.
Tell 10 friends.
Give us a nice review. Tell 10 friends. Gather them all together and be like, listen, I'm going to kill the last one of you that does not subscribe to the Weekly Planet. Let us make this covenant in blood. And then you've got a fun game on your hands, don't you? You're going to murder the 10th of the 10th friend that doesn't subscribe in time. Be clear. It's not everybody who subscribes lives. The last one who subscribes dies. So even if they subscribe, they're still dead. All right?
Those are the rules.
All the rules are rules. Anyway,
yeah.
If you could do that, that'd be great.
Absolutely.
Or just tell them.
Yeah, just tell them. That's fine.
Tell them while you're at racquetball.
Yes, correct. Good stuff. All right, guys. Thanks for listening.
Thanks, guys. We'll see you next week.
See you next week.
Grab that Jemmy, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Oh, do you want to say the voting thing?
Oh, yeah, don't vote for Trump. It's coming up. I'll not mention it again because either things will have worked out all right in the world or we'll all be dead. So it doesn't matter.
I don't weigh in on politics much, Mason. I do follow it quite closely. Vote for whoever you want. That's your choice. Free speech and whatnot. And I completely understand why people are kind of gravitating towards Trump, because he's saying a lot of things that, if were true, would be pretty spectacular for a certain group of people. But if you support that party, you deserve a better candidate than him.
When you're a kid, you always knew a kid who would constantly tell really obvious lies, and that's him.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway, grab that gem, you guys. Do whatever you want. Live your
That's
life.
right.
Okay, bye.
Okay, bye.